in terms of like when you actually do structure a lot of your businesses, how do you structure your time most of the time? Was it like you got like set hours when it came to different contracts you have? Like was it
Yeah, I get into, wait, are you asking like how do I structure the actual work themselves, or like personally, how do I just structure my day to day?
both?
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
So well, for my like day to day, it's honestly in phases. Like I'll usually it's like beginning of the month, I'm like, all right, new month, it's gonna be great. I'll plan out like my whole week, and then it completely breaks down by like Thursday, and then I never pick it up for the rest of the month. I'll usually just like Sunday night, I'll like plan things for the night. I'll like check my calendar, and then I'll like plan some stuff, but it's usually pretty flexible in my day to day. I kind of like it like that. And as far as like, you know, structuring work with clients, you know, it definitely depends on the type of work. Ideally for me, you know, getting something like a fixed monthly rate, like a monthly retainer, or like a project-based type of contract is more ideal for me. It's just the type of work that I do because I don't know how many hours something can take a lot of times, especially if you don't know, even if the client doesn't know kind of the ins and outs of their marketing system, if it exists. And so, and plus like it's usually more cost effective for clients, and the peace of mind for me knowing that I have that fixed rate is more valuable than the hourly rate. Like I could charge people a ton of money and do the hourly rate and do it that way, but I don't think that would make clients happy, and that's just an extra thing that I have to think about. So that's typically my goal with it. But you know, other types of work are definitely better for hourly, but for me, I just kind of prefer like, let's just do this for 3 months, or let's accomplish this one thing for XYZ rate.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I did hourly my like first freelance job ever, you know, like actually it's funny. I was working at a startup for a few months. First time I got to kind of wear all hats. They liked my writing the most. So they're like, hey, while you're finishing up senior year of college, like, do you want to be a writer for us? And it was an hourly rate. But yeah, I after a few months, I was like, I don't really want to manage the hourly part of it. I'd rather just deliver quality work. So then it became project based and then eventually contract based. And I think that's the way to go. Like, I think a lot of people end up selling themselves short, and then they think that there's this like huge gap between what they need to do to get to contract work. And I mean, to them, they like, just do it. Like, just ask for it. You know, it's like a sales thing. Like, you just got to ask for it from your clients. And oftentimes they're just going to, if you're really delivering value for them.
Yeah. I mean, most of the people that I talked to recently, they're like, well, what do you want? Like, do you do hourly? Do you do project? And I'm like, I prefer a project based. And they're like, fine. Because like, I again, like everyone's situation is different. All disciplines are a bit different, but I think hourly work, to your point, Sid, like it sort of disincentivizes you in a lot of cases. Like whether you think about it or not, like you're probably slacking a little bit to get those extra hours in there, you know, but that's not what's best for you, because that kills your creativity and your mental health over time. And it's not what's good for the client or their budget or the kind of work you want to deliver. So yeah, I think structuring it based on like, hey, just pay me this much and I'll dedicate however much time. You can cap it. You know, I put caps on, like hourly caps on contracts, where I'll just keep things, I'll like notate things separately. If, you know, X amount per month, max this hours. And then sometimes I'll add on, like, if there's anything else that you need, this is the hourly rate that I charge. And then I'll just tack that onto the invoice. Because that way it builds trust. It lets people know that you're there and you want to help them. And yeah, also just being like a kind of a consultant or like an implementation or like an operator sort of position. Operator, you're there to like solve a problem or do the work, right? Consultant is more just like, it's a loose term, but it's used to just sort of advise in a lot of cases. But the mindset for me is just fire myself from this job, right? Like I want to educate people on what I'm doing, educate the client on what I'm doing, because chances are I'm not going to be there forever. So I'm going to teach you everything that I'm doing, whether you want to listen to me or not. And if you take value from it, great, you'll keep me on because you don't want to have to think about anyone else doing this. So usually I'm really transparent with clients and that kind of stuff, and helping them build out systems and telling them like what they should do next, because it does act as a nice sales tool, you know, because it's like, well, here's what's coming. It's sort of like that agency model, but not as, I don't know, predatory.
Yeah.
I guess that's one word to use, but it builds trust, right? It's like, look, like I want you guys to succeed, because if you do, then I do, and it just makes things a bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And in a similar vein, like I feel like as a freelancer, it's easy to get sucked up in the trap of like, I'm trading my time for money. And then it's like, you know, like if you're really a business, or if you're really trying to do this to build your own skills and just like have enough money to be happy, then it's like, you know, it's a whole different ballgame, right? It doesn't really matter. Welcome to The Cabin, a podcast where we interview diverse minds to learn about their paths to building skills and creative confidence. I'm Sid.
And I'm Ibra. Let's dive in.